So what's up guys, so this is another video, part 5 in the introduction to Genie. So in this video we'll be looking at using the controllers we just created in the last video. So let's get into it. So this is introduction to Genie part 5. So we'll be looking at the controllers, then we will look at making some structs, which is like an object, and then we will look at creating a record instance, because you know this thing was all about records. And then finally we'll create a function for that is the last thing in struct. And then we can now look at returning the data in a view. So please guys, don't forget to like this video if you love it, show some support, also subscribe. So let's look at a record. So in the last video, if you still remember, we just created this struct and it created this module for us. So a module is something, a file that you use to keep things that do the same thing. So in this, it's a records controller. So everything about records will be controlling it over here. Though here is not the place to create database, but over here you will be getting data from the database, of which that is something we've not covered as of now, but we'll look at it in the next video or something. But here we'll be getting those data, returning them to the front end in a way that can be consumed over there. So let's look at it. So first you need to create an object, which is, in our case, an object is called struct in Genie. So let's create a struct that in this case is called the record, because you know keep record. So okay, I don't like what just happened. It's supposed to be that. So you see I'm using tab 9, so that's why you see it has a lot of auto completion. It's a really nice AI controlled auto completion extension. So if you want it, then install tab 9. So we'll create two things only, so that this is a demonstration of how constructors or how controllers work. So first thing is we need to create a controller. If you know basic Julia, then you will understand this. If you don't know, then please look up there, go follow some videos about introduction to Genie and look for how to get started. So here let's create something called title, because we want each record to have a title, and the title will be of type string, as you know. So that is it. So we have another thing, let's say location. So where do you want the event to be taking place? Location, which is in this case something like string. So I think those are the only things we need over here for now. So, and the next thing, let's create a record. So creating a record, this is not the way you would be doing that. I'm just demonstrating how the data now, if this was some data from database, will always be available, because this is something you'll be writing to show you what you want to return, but the data will always be from the database, because this is a Genie application used for developing web applications. So most of the data will be from the database. So let's look at it. So let's just create an example of a record. Example, let's call it, I don't want to write the correct spelling because I know it may take me some forever to just get it right. So the first one, let's create a record called record for, let's say, buy some grocery, and then the location where we want to do this is, let's say, just the town. Guys, I'm using this thing is close. I hope now I won't be struggling to see the microphone was so close to me. So buy some grocery, we'll be doing that in the market. So the next thing is, let's say, another record. Let's create just two. I mean the trend is just the same. Let's say now borrow book. Now let's say this one is done in library. Let's say you're in school. Now this is done in library. Or we can just make another one, which is return the book after you borrow. Obviously you need to always return. Again, the location is the library. So that is it. So this one is an example. Let me just make this. I don't like this, though it does not understand this, that because I'm using a spell checker, but it's right that way. So that is an example, but now you want to return these examples of records to the front end. So doing that is simple. Let's just do it over here by saying it is, let's say, what do we call the function? So this is the function that will be returning records. So let's just call it records, because it returns records of books. So always start and always end every block in Julia. Just remember that to avoid confusion. So because it's something like a list, you can use, let's say, ordered list. Let's say return, and then it's an ordered list, which is UL. Okay, this is bad. UL. So let's do that. Another thing is, let's loop over those things and put them over inside there. So let's just do this. Yeah, that is it. And then we want to loop every time and putting it over in the UL. So yeah, that we are still right. Now for this, let's create a list, which each list will be containing a list element, which is simply li, and then again li. So for this li, obviously will be for, it will be for, we have to end it over here. It's for, let's say, record in examples. In this case, yeah, it's from examples. Now you want to take each record and put it over here again, and just say it's $sign. I hope you know that $sign is used for putting values inside strings. Now it's record dot, it's the first thing is title. As you can see over here, it's title and then location. Now let's say it's title, what just happened and then location is again $sign, and then we want to get the location, which is record dot title. So not the title anymore, it's dot location, because yes, it's location where the event will be taking place. We could be using dates and those other things, but you know, I don't want to start importing some libraries and things like that, so let's just go with this simple example for now. So this we created a struct, and then we created an example of records. So this is one record, this is the second, this is the third. Each will be taking this one, constructing it over here, taking this one, constructing it over here, taking this one, constructing it over here, and then we finally can call the function which will return these examples in a nicely formatted way of ordered list and list. So let's start the server and see. So starting the server, I normally find that I don't know, I want to show you. Let's just, it's doing server. I might just crop this part because I know you know how to start the server. So let me wait for it to finish. I'm still using Windows, which is slow. So you see the server is starting, so you normally have to leave it to finish starting, because you know I want everything inside here to be loaded so that we can use it in the interactive session. So I normally find this as the way I know. I don't know if there's other way, please leave in the comment, but I normally let the server start, and then after it completes I just click Ctrl and C to end the server, but I want it to open in the interactive session of the current application. So I normally do Ctrl C, and then it will finish and it will open the interactive Julia session. So in this session I want to load this controller, which is the record controller, into our session. Now you're using, if you try just clicking this one and then opening Julia, it will open the global environment and not this environment which we want. So if you know other way of using this, then please comment. but for now this will work for me, so let me do this. So using controller, using controller, so let it open and compile. Using controller, record, not defined, it's a record. I did record, it's just one record, sorry, over there. It's supposed to be one record because it's an object. So yeah, so now it has loaded. Now we want to call these records and see what it returns. Now you do just records. Okay, records controller. That is bad. I'm doing everything in an opposite way. Let's see. Now you see. Okay. Now you see we are getting the records in a nice way, but you see it's still a list because we need to strap them out over here. So because we are looking, we want to take each element that was created so that it's strapped out, so that it's just from here list. Let me run and then you see what these three dots does. So you see this is struct in Julia. You make a list, you extract values from list into a scene. So I think you've just seen what happened. So this is it, and now we have access nicely formatted text over here. But this is not what we want to do. You want to return these things to the browser, so we will go back again to the old way, starting the server binary. So the server is already started. Let's just wait for it to initialize and load everything for this environment so that we can see what is happening. So the server is ready. If we try now visiting the browser with 127.8,000, so you see this is the basic Julia server. So we at least let us replace the home page with this content. So now that is where routing comes in. So we just need to replace these with our content over here. Now let's say using, I hope you still can remember, it's a record controller. You need to import the record controller over here first, because we want to use something that is inside the record controller, and then we are returning what was returned over here. Return record controller dot records. Okay, now let's see. I hope it has some auto load over somewhere over here. Now you see the content was loaded for us. Buy groceries, location market, borrow books, location library, return books, location library. So guys, that is basically how to do some construction of objects and structs and things in Julia. So in the next video we will start working getting these data into database and getting them from the database. So guys, for this video that is it. So let's meet in the next video. So please don't forget to subscribe and like this video and also share. So goodbye.